Hey, how's it going? My name is Jimmy Vreeland. You probably already know that because you've probably already seen me on some videos, but now you've decided to come into the program and start the education course. So welcome to the Vreeland Real Estate Education course. And so this video, I'm just going to go through a little bit about me, a little bit about my company's track record, and a little bit about what you're going to be engaging in as you go on this journey of real estate investment. If you already know about my background, if you already know about the company's background, don't worry about it. Skip to the next video. So as far as track record goes, here's where we're at. I'm recording this video in May of 2024. And since the last part of 2017, we've been helping investors build rental portfolios. Here's the map of Missouri. All of these dots right here are properties that we are currently managing. So as you can see, if you want to invest, we have other locations for you to invest in. But in the St. Louis area, as you can see, we have some properties in South City, South County, but we really concentrate in this area, North County, because the rent to price ratio is great for investors. Like I said, as of right now, we're currently managing 800 houses. And you can say we've been pretty busy. We've been trying to flip as many houses to as many investors as we possibly can to help them build their rental portfolio. So Vreeland Capital, we are a one-stop shop for any investor who's looking to get started in passively investing in real estate, or an investor who is looking to continue to build their portfolio. When I say one-stop shop, here's what I mean. Our wholesaling company, iBuySTL, is a direct-to-seller home buying company, and that generates most of the deals because we need to go to direct-to-seller to get some discounts so that they are appealing to investors. Now, once you have the house, what good does it really do for you unless you have somebody to fix the house? And that's where Black Knight Construction comes in. So at any given time, we're managing 40 to 50 flips. And then once the house is fixed up, you need a tenant. So St. Louis Leasing Co., they find the tenants and then they manage it for the long term. So that's what I mean by a one-stop shop. Whether it's in St. Louis or other cities that we offer deals in, we are going to take care of everything you need, from finding the house to fixing the house to finding the tenant and then managing it for the long term. A little bit about me. This is my beautiful family. That's my beautiful wife, Susie, and my 4 children, and they're integral to my investing story. But my investing story actually starts with my background. I used to be an Army Ranger. I deployed to Iraq twice, Afghanistan once. And my real estate journey actually started in Iraq. I saw this little purple book. My mom sent it to me in one of her care packages. And even though I was in the middle of a desert, like sleeping on the ground, sleeping in the desert, I still had this book that when I would come off patrol, I would sit and read this book. And I was fascinated by the concepts in the book. I was like, I just need to start investing in real estate. I got to find a way. And one of the main takeaways that I realized in this book was that the rich don't work for money, they work for assets. And that was completely mind-bending to me. It was like an inception moment. That idea implanted itself in me and it's never left. Because before I read this book, I thought the only way to be wealthy was 3 ways. Inherit it, be a great athlete like Michael Jordan, or be a genius inventor or genius entrepreneur like Steve Jobs. And unfortunately, I was not born wealthy. I did everything I could do to either be a professional baseball, football, or basketball player, but I just couldn't get it done. And at this point, I was 23, so I recognized great athlete was not a way I was going to make money. And then I didn't understand entrepreneurship or business ownership. And the iPhone wasn't even invented at this point, but I was not on a track record to be a great inventor like an Elon Musk or Steve Jobs. So I had to find another way to become wealthy. And Rich Dad Poor Dad said that the rich work for assets. And so my new definition of wealth was that cash flow needed to be greater than expenses. And I do agree with Robert Kiyosaki, but somehow I think the message has got a little bit construed. I'm going to go through that on this introduction video. But me, I am a ready, fire, aim person. I need about 0 information to get moving. That's probably why I was a decent soldier. So I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I had no idea what I was doing, but I started buying about 2 houses a year. I bought 2 houses a year per deployment. So I left the military with 6 houses. And when it was time to get out of the military, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to live this rich dad, poor dad dream. So in the book, what Robert Kiyosaki says is, hey, if you want to be wealthy, you got to learn to sell. So there's a bunch of recruiters who help people when they leave the military, and they say, what kind of job do you want to get? And I was like, how about a sales job? And my brother was in medical school at the time. So the recruiter was like, hey, your brother can teach you everything and then you go sell it. I was like, okay. So I started medical sales in 2008. It was a great time. And I was so committed to this book. My first road trip with Susie on audiobook, I think it was probably even a cassette back in that day, probably a CD. I had Susie listen to the book and she was like, cool, I'm on board. And that year I started getting some decent commission checks in corporate. I bought 2 houses. Then Maria came along in 2010, but we still bought 2 houses. And then Bubba came along 13 months later and still bought 2 houses. Tommy came in 2014 and we bought 2 houses. And then Johnny in 2015. And yeah, believe it or not, we bought another 2 houses. But I was so ready, fire, aim, and dedicated to cash flow greater than expenses that it turned out I was looking for it in all the wrong places. So even though I was buying houses, I was trying multi-level marketing. I was trying selling on eBay. I was trading options. I was the worst options trader on earth. It took all my attention, and I will never ever forget losing $10,000 in one day. And I was also investing in oil wells. It was very rapid fire, very not well thought out, and it did not work. So it was just seared into my mind. I was trying to get my cash flow up immediately and get it greater than expenses. And so I do agree with this formula. What I learned, as you'll see, is you can't do it that fast, but you can do it faster than any other strategy. So I was in 2 rat races. I was in corporate sales. And so every year I'd get a new quota and I have to hustle around. But because I was trying to get cash flow immediately and I didn't truly understand what Kiyosaki was trying to say, I was in a second rat race. So I would get a new quota, I would hustle, and then I would get my bonus in the year. Then I would invest in something I didn't understand and didn't have the 4 pillars of investing, which we're going to get to a little bit. And I would lose said money, which put more pressure on me in my corporate job to do more. And then I would repeat the pattern. I would lose the money again. So I felt like I was just stuck. It was very devastating. I felt like being a successful investor and especially a successful real estate investor because I would see people who were doing it. I felt like it was like the Wizard of Oz, this special club that if I could just see behind the curtain, I'd be able to do it. And so this course, maybe you guys have felt like this, but this course is a look behind the curtain. Everything I went through that I had to learn, I'm going to show it to you in this course. And then if you'd like to take action on it, my team can actually start helping you put a portfolio together immediately. So my investing strategy was a lot like the underwear gnomes.
So what are you going to do with all these underpants that you steal?
Collecting underpants is just phase 1. Phase 1, collect underpants.
So what's phase 2?
Hey, what's phase 2? Phase 1, we collect underpants. Yeah, but what about phase 2? Well, phase 3 is profit, get it?
I don't get it.
You see, phase 1, collect underpants. Phase 2, phase 3, profit.
So the underwear gnomes, they had a very detailed business plan. Phase 1, collect underpants. Doesn't make any sense. Phase 2, question mark. Phase 3, profit. But that's what I was investing like. And that's what I see a lot of people investing like when they see a course on the internet or get fired up. So my plan was buy cash flowing assets, question mark, then be wealthy. And guess what? It didn't work. So here's what I was missing. I was missing a plan. I was missing a scoreboard. I was missing systems, and I was missing processes. So that's what I love about Vreeland Capital. We help people create a plan. We give them a scoreboard. We give them systems and processes, and then we give them a team. This is everything that I was missing. That's what I'm giving to all of our clients. So here was my rock bottom point. The oil went bust. It turns out I was part of a Ponzi scheme. So I was devastated, but then I met with a mentor, and he asked everything I was doing. He's just, whoa, like you are like a area target weapon with no direction. And then he started asking me about my rentals. And so he's like, talk to me about these 20 rentals. And I was like, well, you know, they put a little bit of money in my pocket. But since I was only focusing on cash flow in a short time period, he was like, Jimmy, look around. How much have these houses appreciated? And I was like, at least 5% a year. And the tenants, they're paying the mortgage down. About what percentage return is that? I get another 3 to 4% on the tenant paying down. And then what about tax advantage? You're able to list yourself as a real estate professional on your tax return. What does that save you in taxes? I was like, probably 6 figures. And then cash flow, yeah. And he's like, the cash flow's there. So great. What would happen if you would just focus on these assets? And then he was like, Jimmy, do you even know why these assets work? And I was like, because Kiyosaki said they were? No, he's like, look, real estate has the 4 pillars of investing, and you should only invest in assets that have these 4 pillars. And so here's what these 4 pillars are. This is why real estate creates so much wealth. This is why people who are not in the real estate game need to get in the real estate game, because they need to benefit from assets that win in 4 ways. The 4 ways are appreciation, cash flow, tax advantages, and leverage. And I'm going to go through each of these 4 pillars in depth in further videos. And so here was my lesson learned. I only invest in the assets that have the 4 pillars. And I also learned a really important lesson that we're going to talk about in this course, but it's the passive income paradox. So each time, like for example, when I met Susie, obviously I met the love of my life, but I wanted to provide a home and a family for us. So I worked harder and my income grew, and I bought 2 houses, and I see a little bit of success, which reinforced my success. And I started making more active income each time. And then I'd have a child and I'd get scared. I need more active income. My active income would grow. Then I would invest it and get a little bit of passive income, which would fire me up more to get more passive income, which means I had to get more active income. So all the investors I work with, they experience this passive income paradox. Like some people come in like, I want to quit my job in a year. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. This is a long-term game, but it's a faster game than everybody else. But what you will experience is the passive income paradox. And as you start getting a little bit of passive income, your active income will grow 10 times this passive income return. So you become a productive, more successful, happier person. So it's a rapid loop up. And so this power of focus, here's what it gave me. As a result of focus, in 2016, I learned how to raise private money, and I was able to buy 60 houses. And now I wasn't able to retire like everybody on the internet say you should be able to do. But what I was able to do is I was able to switch active careers and start an active real estate business where I still work a lot, but I have a ton of fun. I grow a team and I get to grow as a person. And some of the people in this course, you guys will never start an active real estate business, and a few of you will. And the reason most of you won't start an active real estate business is because what you're already doing, you create so much wealth and create so much value that it would be silly for you to leave what you're currently doing. That's a big problem I have with a lot of internet courses. They try to get already successful people who are winning the game to take their eye off the ball, when all they really need to do is take their active income and turn it into passive leveraged income. So everything I have done since that conversation with the mentor, those 20 houses has been my foundation. That allowed me to start the active real estate business. That foundation is how I was able to start an education business. I've taken lines of credit. I've taken cash flow. I've become an accredited investor because of those 20 houses. Now, even though now I have 80 houses, those 20 are still the base. So thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for getting a scope of what we're going to do in this course, and I'll see you in the next video.